Hello, my name is Mitchell Barron, and I'll be going over personality and generations. This will be this week's discussion board assignment. So, little, without further ado, we will start. So, I'm gonna just start with my personality type. I am an ISFJ, also known as the Defender. At least that's what Myers-Briggs talks about it as being you could think of this as, well, the defender, like very dependable, responsible, and committed to structure, service. When I think about it, I think about like nurses, they have a very strict structure, very regimented. If they're going to diagnose someone, then like a nurse practitioner, there are steps that you need to go through. And I love steps. They're also known for being detail oriented, obviously, the really organization, and then also compassionate and loyal. So not to toot my own horn, this is what I've been read. But often they just like to keep things organized behind the scenes. That's how I would put it. And then also, I think this personality really fits. Just to glance on over to like a nonprofit sort of view, and even public service. And I am a maintenance person, and there are water related features, about chlorine. Everything has to be structured for the health of the for the organization, and that can easily transfer over to nonprofit just because of the de dependability and then the empathy as well. Is that feeling mindset or friendly? In the slides, Sundstrom, Dr. Sundstrom said SJs are very guardian and very dependable and will stand up. So I believe this definitely aligns with ISFJ, uh, you know, stereotype, I guess you could say. So let's just say for ISFJs, um, agreeing and disagreeing, contrasting conflicts. Um, I agree that ISFJ's assessment, because it really highlights my strengths and the organization and consistency. I just finished my T2 exam, passed that, so let's go. And then also, I'll have my I have my D2 and T2, so I'm fully qualified to work in the water field, and I like that because it's it's responsibility, I guess you could say. Um, and I'm definitely someone who like values stability and follow through. And I often take helper roles. Like I was for my presidency and my fraternity, they kind of just pushed that on me, and I was like, it's okay, I could do it. It's my last semester. I would like to relax, but if you guys need me, I'll do it, right? And now they were the best fraternity. Um, but I guess I can. I mean, I'll always agree with stereotype or disagree with negative stereotypes. Um, but uh, how did you say resisting change? I kind of go with the flow. ISFJs have a difficult time adhering to it, and for sure, change is something that's like unfortunate. It's like I have to do that. I feel like it's a worldwide thing, but I'm just gonna disagree. Um, and then overall, I feel like this stereotype is pretty accurate. And it just kind of reflects my natural approach. And then I'll just go over uh matching personality types first, or I'll do contrasting first since that's what it says right there. So obviously ENTPs, they're the debaters. They love debating. Hey, this is the rule. So you can see that contrast right there. ESTJs, they're very strong leaders who value efficiency, and I feel like that's like something that can definitely match. Um, but it's their way of communication is oftenly bad. Well, not bad, but it's their way of communicating. And then it just feels too blunt for ESTJs, extroverted, me being an I. And then next would be ESFPs. They bring a lot of energy, and you know what? Sometimes I like doing my own thing. I'm a meter reader. I'm a water meter reader. I'm by myself 100% of the time, and I love it. You know, short occasional talks with citizens. That's great. Consistently, no. Um, but I think these are good challenging stereotypes for even just me to work with, only because you get to learn more. Now the matching ones. The ESFJs. They're very warm, right? Dependable, focus on teamwork, and I think that's like a natural thing that they'll just get along since I'm well, I'm just going off, you know, I would say that I'm loyal and compassionate. So I think that that's really nice. So that they definitely match. Um, ISTJs are structured, logical. I vibe with the logicalness and the consistency and overall like clarity of ISTJs are great. And then lastly, INFJs. I believe they complement uh, ISFJs, me, because they're very like empathetic. So kind of goes back to the ESFJs. And then, but if INFJs like they're very creative, you know, the idealists, I guess you could say, and they have like more vision, and that's good, you know, if you work with them. So I believe that makes a really good match. Potentials conflicts. Um, I already kind of already went over that, but like even matching, you know, like let's just go over the matching. They have sometimes too cautious, I guess you could say. I feel like some of them for the matching personality types and can take too much trying to please others while I'm here just like this is my role, this is what I got to do. All right. I guess yeah. I kind of went over everything. Um well, I guess you could say Um, if anything, like you need to work well with each other and you needed to like for nonprofit in general. I think the contrasting types, you just need to balance it. ENTPs, ESTJs, and ESFPs can bring positivity, you know, efficiency, innovative. But I will probably create the structure, making sure people feel heard, and you know, just in general, bring follow through. So that's what if I was going to work with these personality types, and then obviously potential conflicts can always happen. Uh, you know, try and avoid confrontation, but um, when others move too fast for my comfort, I feel like that's probably bad. Um, and then obviously the key is communication. But um, let's see. Um, and obviously when like personalities like differ, I try to lead with empathy and create, you know, balance between um, like creativity and like in general consistency. So it's I try to be the glue, I guess you could say. Um, And then lastly, for managing nonprofit staff and volunteers, let's play towards the strengths, you know? So I highlighted mission alignment. Um, uh, People want outcomes, you know? So people want to see that. And like we were talking about last class, and just or general organization. And then it reminds teams like why they work and why it like matters and to keep motivation high. You know, so making that mission alignment is in general across all personality types is very good. And obviously you'll attract the ones that you'll want to attract. Structure clarity, I mean, those are basic things, especially a part of communication. So clear roles in communication to, you know, prevent burnout or in general, like confusion. Confusion burns me out. That's why I really like general guidelines. So really feeling the ISFJ stereotype right now. But and then obviously recognition. Recognition is always good. Obviously, like thank you letters, and just in general, those small gestures really builds long-term benefits towards the nonprofit itself and the volunteers. Next. All right. I gave them funny names. So first, generational differences. The next thing that we're going to talk about, I like to say wisdom to ambition, just to go from, the boomers over to Gen Z. But first, we're going to cover the boomers. Obviously, very loyal. And these are the general, obviously, they prefer face-to-face communication. I would feel like emailing might be even be better as well. Gen X um, very direct and concise. They want efficiency and they value independence and really like flexibility as well. So I think that's why they want to have concise updates. Um, Millennials, my sisters. Um, they're great. They seek purpose. Obviously, one of them's a director at a nonprofit. Other one works for Planned Parenthood and set ups labor unions. So you can see that that general want for being a part of something bigger, being collaborative, one would say, and then they want to seek purpose, seek balance. And this ties into the next generation, my generation, Gen Z. Obviously, tech savvy. We're right here doing our master's course online, and you're listening to it. And then I feel like same thing, they want to seek purpose and balance. So, uh, and especially inclusion, that was a huge thing and social impact. They want to see what they actually do. Obviously, the ambition is extremely high on these guys. I remember being super ambitious before reality came to me, but but regardless, all these differences between like all these generations affect how we motivate them, So different types of communication would be better. I would say, let's see. I'll just go over a little bit different. Um, but obviously, boomers, face-to-face communication, that's going to be great. It's going to work out great for them. Um, because they want to see it right here, right now. Like going back, some boomers are, there might be a little bit more tech savvy. They might have more emails, but they're kind of they're getting there. So face to face is definitely the way to communicate with them. Gen X, yeah, 100% email. They'll get to it. And then millennials and Gen Z, I mean, just choose the digital format that you really want to decide, and then they'll adhere to it. Um, and I think managers in general, I find this interesting. I would say my interesting points right now. Um, uh, how would I say it? Sometimes managers have to be multilingual for these different types of generations. So that kind of sucks. You have to broadband yourself across these different types of communication styles to efficiently, make it work. I think I'm over time. But so I'm gonna speed right through it. Motivation and work. Um, Boomers, stability, and they want to see what they made. They want to have their legacy written in stone, I guess you could say. Um, Gen X, they want, like I said, efficiency, but they want full autonomy. They want to be independent. So that's their values. And then millennials and Gen Zs, I'm going to group them again. But they prioritize purpose, right? And they want to see that social impact. And I feel like this motivation and work values is interesting because each group connects to a mission differently, So you got to frame it that way to them when you're talking to them, when you're going through different communication styles. And then lastly, technology. I mean, this creates a natural, this is a cool part. You can create natural mentorship opportunities, which ties into our next um, slide, which is gluing it all together. How do we manage and motivate these different types of people? So obviously, the challenge. I'm going to go back up the slide. You can read it at the bottom. Miscommunication, tech, and then a difference in motivations. But that difference in motivations can create a cross-generational mentorship program. At least you could, try and make it. I feel like pairing this more experienced staff with obviously younger volunteers to, exchange skills on both the boomers and Gen X side to the millennials and Gen Z side, as long as they're communicating, maybe t the Gen Z teaching how to do tech or let's see, and just showing or sharing the general experience that these people have lived through for Gen X and also boomers would be great. Next, I'm gonna go for use multiple communication channels. That's the only way that you're really gonna get around this. Um, Obviously, if you can get email or boomers on email, make that technological jump, which I feel like might be pretty easy. Everyone's got an iPhone nowadays, but to each their own. You're gonna have to figure out what kind of person this is, and you're gonna have to adhere to that person still. So, but like maybe Gen Z, obviously, they might prefer just texting and be like, "Hey, I need you here," and they're like, "All right." Flexible. I think this it ties into millennials and then also Gen X as well. And then I'm sure the boomers and Gen Z can appreciate it. Is that, um, I guess you could say having that. Hmm. Well, I'm trying to think about what I said. Oh, recognition. Others, maybe boomers appreciate since they like the face-to-face communication, talking to them specifically. They prefer private recognition. Some others might prefer, you know, a a grand applause, I guess you could say. So like setting up if there's like a gala for a nonprofit, calling up the nonprofit volunteers or having them stand up would do great. Just remember if is a person, doing a lot more, maybe if it's a boomer, face-to-face recognition might do miles, miles. Um, and then lastly, mission unity, making sure everyone's on the same page and have a shared purpose um, uh, for their for their personal preferences. You want to make sure that that Gen Z's social impact, and then even boomers, they want to see that legacy, and then just kind of gluing everything together in that mission or even mission statement would be great for the overall nonprofit. Oh, I think that's it. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. And have a good day.